Well, hi again. I'm back from my trip to Washington, D.C., and wanted to share some of my experience with you. I went there as a member of the Financial Services Institute. It's an advocacy group that speaks up in Washington for independent advisors, independent firms, and also our clients, or who they call Main Street investors. This trip was all about getting in front of senators, people from Congress, and or their staff to bring issues that we feel are important or certain legislation that's already in progress right now, asking for their continued support. So let me give you a little recap on what we did. Well, the first day we had a couple sessions that I felt most important. One was a panel of two current and one former chief of staff from two senators and a person in Congress, and they were giving us an idea on etiquette, how they would perceive us depending on how we presented ourselves or how we behaved, which is helpful. They also wanted to stress to us and ask us to let other people know that most of the time they actually do get along. In fact, two of the people on stage, one represented someone from the Democratic Party, the other Republican Party, and they said they are friends and they actually do travel together. So a lot of what we see, they said, really isn't what happens behind the scenes. The second session that was very important that day was held by different advisors who had been on this trip many times. And they were giving us a little bit of input on how to present ourselves, what to bring up first. Do not bring up politics. We were trying to go there for a specific reason and don't lose track of that. They also said we may be surprised that most of the staff we'll see, for people like me, would look more like my children and grandchildren. In other words, a lot of 20-plus-year-old staffers that were very sharp and very receptive, but very young for someone like myself. So what did we talk about? Well, first of all, I do want to stress that we were received very cordially and welcomed in every single office, no matter what party they were representing or whether they're in Congress or the Senate. We were treated very well. We had a few different points to bring up, and one that I particularly was interested in was called the Protecting Seniors from Financial Exploitation Bill, and that actually has gone through the House unanimously. So when we met with House members, we thanked them for their part, and it's now up to the Senate before this session ends, or else it just disappears, to ask the people in the Senate to either co-sponsor the bill or support the bill, so that if it goes through, we will have the ability to at least temporarily suspend sending money out to those people we feel strongly have been abused or are being manipulated. In fact, we mentioned to them that we really not only are on the front lines, but quite often may have more insight into what's happening with our clients than their own family members. So that was a big issue for me. There were three other points that we were making, but the gist is that we were looking at issues that we maybe can't control, but we can present and ask for support. It was very cool for me to feel like I was a part of the whole thing. In fact, how cool to visit the grounds of a place where I feel we all share in the ownership and get a chance to speak up for our profession and for our people, our clients, families, and friends. Oh yeah, and I also mentioned in a social media video that I had the opportunity to visit the International Spy Museum, where I picked up a souvenir to prove that I was there. Or was I?